Welcome back, everyone. Racecast. We've just had a race weekend, and we've actually got another one coming up, which is always a treat. Don't like it when there's a gap in between. Do you?
No, not a fan.
Yeah, it makes it feel useless. But episode 14, thanks for joining us. If you don't want to see our faces, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. The links are in the description down below. But if you do want to see more of us, make sure you check out our socials. They are also in the description down below. Instagram, TikTok. The list ends there. And I know what you're thinking. Nice t-shirts. Yeah. Formula Sports. 10% off with Racecast 10. Link is also in the description. Should we get on with it now? Let's go.
All right, guys. Welcome along. Episode 14. Luke, that was first time. Well done.
Yeah, that was.
Well done. How have you been? Obviously, it's been a week since I've seen you. How you been?
Yeah, not bad. Nothing to report on, really. Hay fever, one of you recommended some tablets, which I genuinely thought were like some form of cancer-giving tablets, and you were trying to get me killed. But I went and bought them. They've actually helped. I'm not going to lie, they haven't worked miracles.
You feel better?
Yeah, I'm like 50% better, which is good. So thanks for your tip and proof that we do read the comments. So do comment right now and say, nice t-shirts, boys.
Do that. Comments last week were actually really nice. So thank you to you for those.
I mean, if you're listening, obviously you can't, but just, you give us a 5-star rating.
I think Luke really wants to tell us a story about what happened this evening.
Do I?
Yeah. I mean, you've already put it on your Insta story, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. I left the house, went to play football. And
different sports, by the way.
Yeah, they are. I wasn't racing. And turn up. Put my boots on, go to put my shoes in my bag. When I pick them up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm wearing 2 different pairs of shoes. So I've got like Air Force on one foot and then like Nike Reacts on another. I'll put a picture up if you are watching. But yeah, I've been a bit slow today.
How old are you?
26. I know, it's amazing, isn't it? I did go out yesterday on a Sunday. Got a bit carried away. I'm not going to put it down to that. But I have been very well other than that.
Good.
What about you?
Good. Yeah, all good.
I mean, you came over on Sunday yesterday, watched the race.
We watched the race together yesterday.
Yep.
It was good. Yeah, nothing really to report. Been with the horses, chilled, been at work today, the usual. But no one wants to hear about what we've been up to, do they?
No,
Let's
true.
get on to the F1 podcast. Before we get into Baku, would you like to hear some news?
Yeah, as I said last week, this is my favourite part of the show because I get to learn everything that's gone on.
So obviously there's news which we'll talk through when we go through Baku because it kind of links. However, the main story from today is Piastri is set for a place in F1 in the 2023 season. Obviously Alpine did promise that actually they'll get him into the sport.
So it's going to be an Alpine seat?
No.
Oh, okay.
So Alpine made good on their claim that they would be happy to loan him out because this comes after Alonso looks like he's going to sign a new deal. Do you know he's 40?
But to me, it makes total sense. He does not look like a driver that is clutching at straws.
No.
He turns up every week. He's still as aggressive as I remember him from way back in the day. He still looks like he's fast. I mean, he's quicker than Ocon.
He looks good. And I mean, when you look back at it, for me, that lap in Australia,
yeah,
before he went off he retired, we didn't bin it. He had a mechanical issue.
Wow.
Or as you would say that
a mechanical issue.
My question is, Luke, where would you see Piastri going? If they are going to loan him out, obviously, I think they're going to keep with the pairing of Ocon and Alonso for next year, Alpine. Where would you see him going? Because it's hard. Potentially, he could go to Williams.
Yeah,
that would make more logical sense for me.
But is Nick de Vries the guy going there? Because the Mercedes connection... and obviously Mercedes supply the Williams engines. I'm sure they've got a big say. I mean, they obviously had the relationship from George. And that makes it hard because, where does he go? Because if he goes, someone like McLaren, for example, that's too high, in my opinion.
And I truly believe, and I've said this in the last podcast, Gasly deserves that McLaren seat.
Yeah.
If it comes up, he deserves that seat.
So then is AlphaTauri a potential?
Potentially.
Because that to me, although AlphaTauri have just jumped Alpine in the constructors.
But would they want... Would Alpine... You need to get that cough sorted, man.
Yeah.
If you were Alpine, would you want them in a competitive rival? Or would you want him in a lower team, someone like Williams, get some experience in F1 and then come back?
So I think they'd love him to go to Williams. I just think, like, realistically, Latifi is gone. And if he's not gone, I'm gone. I'm going to quit the podcast. We're going to shut it down until he's out. Because
2028, we come back.
Yeah, there's no way he can stay in the sport, right? But like I said, that seat to me, I think Nick De Vries, it makes sense just because of all the links. Piastri deserves a seat, and I want to see him in the sport. But Mick Schumacher is on the ropes at the moment.
He is on the ropes.
You know, somewhere like a Haas, maybe that would make sense. But again, they've got relationships with Ferrari, who might have drivers they actually want to push in. And that's what I mean. Alpine are very much a standalone team.
Yeah.
It might not be so easy getting him a seat due to the other relationships that the more powerful teams have with the other smaller teams, Alfa Romeo and Ferrari and Haas and Ferrari. But I think what will help them is that Piastri will be hot property. People would want him driving for them.
Okay, look at it this way. If you're Haas, if, for example, Mick got binned, would you want another rookie to come in once you've gone through everything like you have with Mick? Or would you rather go for someone who has a bit of experience and actually get some points? Because that car is quite good. It has the potential.
And this is the thing, because, and I don't know their CVs like in and out, but I imagine they're pretty similar, Piastri and Mick Schumacher.
Yeah.
Like both won F2. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure that F3, they were quality as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it hasn't worked out for Mick, and it didn't work out for Mazepin, obviously there was a bigger gap in standard there.
And money.
Yeah. Then, yeah, why would you take the risk on a Piastri? When you see Magnussen driving the car fine,
Yeah.
you know, does it just make more sense to, okay, let's get someone that is proven to be reliable?
For me, Piastri to Williams makes the most sense to me. It makes most logic. Nick De Vries, he's 27 years old.
Oh, and this is the thing, yeah. He's not like
he's not young property anymore. He's not like a.
He's not a youth prospect, is he?
No.
And I understand that, but at the same time, you know, Mike Williams wants someone that has got driving experience. I know he hasn't got F1 experience, but he's still a world champion. Yeah,
I just feel Williams might look for someone who they can really work with while they develop that car.
But is someone like Piastri, who they know Alpine will want back?
Yeah.
Is that someone that they can think, well, you know, we actually... Because I'm sure teams don't want short-term drivers.
No.
It's much better to get hold of someone and be like, okay, we want to keep this person for as long as they're performing, and hopefully that's, 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
But you got to remember, the lower teams will want to have people like this because their salary is a lot cheaper.
Yeah, of
Whereas
course.
if you're a higher team, you don't want to have... if you're going to have someone invest in someone, you want them there long term.
Yeah.
So Haas isn't going to want to be... in Haas's eyes, they're someone who Alpine is who they want to challenge. They're not going to want to go, oh, do you know what? We'll have you for a year, then you can go back to Alpine and make them good. And then, oh shit, where do we go from now? They want to have someone there where they can build for the future.
Yeah, but surely Williams think the same. Surely they're not just like, oh, we'll take you for a year and then...
They have Latifi. What do you think?
Yeah, but he's been there for 2, 3 years? Seasons now. So, I mean, they're clearly, they wanted something long term.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I know it hasn't worked out, but Yeah, I think it's going to get interesting around summer.
I agree.
And certainly next season. But I think Piastri will be in F1 next season.
I think it's great for the sport. I'm really excited to see how he gets on. Guys, let us know, where would you like to see Piastri next year, or where do you think he will be? Do you think Nick de Vries will go in? Do you think Piastri will go in? Let us know what your thoughts are. Let's talk about Baku, because let's start off with, let's skip practice. There wasn't really much happened in practice. I think, Ferrari looked reasonable. Red Bull looked reasonable.
It was Ferrari, Red Bull.
It wasn't anything exciting, but qualifying. Charles Leclerc, I have to say, another stonker of a lap.
Yeah, so we spoke about this last week.
Yep.
He holds the lap record. He was on pole last season.
Yep.
And we said that, despite the Red Bulls being very, very quick, which we knew, he was the one to watch.
Yeah.
Because he's proven that he is quick around that track in a car that isn't that quick. I know the Ferrari was quick, but compared to the times he was getting out of it, he really excelled. But, I know we'll touch on the race, but I was impressed with him. And he certainly delivered what I expected.
It was a stonking lap by Leclerc, and he's shown that all season. What's that, 5 poles now? Or 6 poles? I can't remember what.
Yeah,
I think it's...
and he's had, the last 4 races he's been pole.
Yeah.
He's not won any of them.
But that's not a bad stat. And if you are Ferrari, that's promising from that aspect.
Oh, for sure.
But also in qualifying, Lance Stroll. What can we say about Lance Stroll? This made me laugh. And till this day, I think this is one of my favourite Instagram stories I think I've ever done, because I posted on there, he's gone into a barrier. No word of a lie, 30 seconds later, he's
done it again.
Totaled his car in a different barrier. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this even possible? Brought out the red flag, but I mean, another shocker.
Well, and here's the thing, right? I know we're not talking about the race yet, but even, we can look at it from a quali perspective. Seb is hugely outperforming him.
Oh.
As you would probably naturally expect, a 4-time world champion. But Stroll is not like some... I mean, how old is he?
Good question, I don't know. He's 20, 20...
He's not some like young talent that everyone's like, he's exciting. They can nurture him into the driver they want. He's an arrogant little fuck that, in my opinion, thinks he's a lot better than he is.
Yeah.
He's rude to his engineers, which I hate, and he makes way too many mistakes on the track.
So I posted a video on Instagram. Did you see it? The press conference, the post race or post qualifying interview, and it was basically like, yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Yeah, we'll pick it up tomorrow in the race. Yeah, it's like he's so used to either bashing that car up, whether it's in Monaco, whether it's who knows where, he just doesn't care. There's no oh crap,
But that's what I mean, where you see this. Look, he's got a billionaire as a dad, and you see this spoiled attitude come across, and that's really not a good thing in racing. Like, it is what it is. Well, I'm sure the engineers don't feel that way.
No. Talking about, other people who had a disappointing weekend, who was last on the grid?
What, starting? Well, it was actually Mick Schumacher.
Mick had another shocker this weekend.
That is a total disaster.
Yeah. And you got to remember, Stroll crashed and Mick still finished last.
Oh, yeah. That is insane, isn't it?
And that doesn't make any sense to me.
Because I know that the Haas...
He did 2 more laps than Lance Stroll in qualifying.
I know they didn't look amazing this week because, even Magnussen...
He was 16th.
But I mean, I'm pretty sure the time difference was still...
We have it? Yeah. It was 1.1 seconds.
That's
quicker.
A lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
Which is just
across
mad.
a single lap. So, yeah, No, it was, the usuals did not disappoint.
No.
Mick Schumacher stunk it up. Stroll stunk it up. Latifi. We'll come on to him when we talk about the race, but my God.
Let's just finish on qualifying because there's not so much to talk about qualifying. We've got a lot to talk about in this episode. But your top 10 was Leclerc, Perez, Max, Sainz, Russell, Gasly. Gasly had a fantastic qualifying session.
Yeah.
Actually had a very good weekend on the whole.
Yeah, he was very solid, and so did Tsunoda, in my opinion. But that Red Bull engine is quick.
It's quick, isn't it? Hamilton was 7th in qualifying, Tsunoda 8th, Vettel again outperforming that car in 9th, and Alonso was 10th. So on a whole, qualifying was pretty good. Let's get into the race. So I have to say, a very good start for Perez. Off the line, took Leclerc into turn 1, and he looked like he was going to walk away with it.
I think, and I know this is the case for some tracks, but definitely it's better to start second at that track.
Yeah.
It's such a short run down to turn 1 that even if you get a marginally better launch than first place, you're easily taking that corner.
Yeah.
Easy.
I think it's more pressure to be on the outside. The inside looks like you can kind of push whoever's in first out a bit.
Yeah, because
you take more of a risk.
They can't just dive in on you.
No. But no, on a whole, I mean, looking on the speed trap,
Alpine?
Oh, Alpine, but I'm talking about the initial starts.
Oh, what, the
not
Lord
speed track,
speed.
Lord speed.
Yeah. Reaction time.
Perez was flying on that.
Yeah, no, and
he looked good.
You saw he got off, and then obviously Charles locked up.
Yeah,
but he probably tried to go a bit deep.
I thought when I saw that Perez was just going to walk away, well, just run away with it. However, Leclerc, Max kept with him. And actually, Leclerc, I love the battle between Leclerc and Max. Again, it wasn't as aggressive. I'm still waiting for that big coming together and making this season start to be interesting.
When is that going to happen? Because I know you guys listening and watching, surely you're missing that aggression that we had last season between Lewis and Max, where it was brutal.
Yeah,
I know. Every time I sit down on a Sunday, I know that nothing is going to compare to a race that I was watching last season.
It's just that aggression, and regardless of whether I think a lot of people think that it's just because it was Hamilton, that's why we want this. It was just the whole season was entertaining last year. Every race you went into, you had teams hating each other. It was just exciting every race.
And it's a good point to say obviously you want that again because you're Hamilton fans, and that's why it was so much better. But genuinely, it's not even that.
If you had it between Max and Leclerc, the same rivalry between
I just
team
want something
principals,
to get me excited. Yeah, that's all.
I want to get to that point when I'm on the edge of my seat again. Yeah. I want to get to a point where I was like, oh yeah, I'm buzzing for that race.
Yeah, because now when Charles and Max get close, I don't know. It doesn't get me to the edge of my seat.
Can you imagine if we started this podcast last year?
Oh my God, we would have had.
We'd
have had tears. There would have been tears.
I think you might have had an hour podcast of us just literally just flabbergasted. I wonder if you can help me here because I wrote down here because each week I write down notes of races. The greatest thing Paul di Resta said. What was it yesterday?
Oh my God, I actually remember. I remember saying. It wasn't the greatest. It was the only
thing. The only positive thing he ever said. It was about Hamilton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
About his luck. When is his luck going to?
Oh yeah, what? Because man, he is one unlucky boy.
He is. Let's quickly so Sainz retired. I can actually tell you what it was. Apparently, his retirement involved his gearbox as well as the hydraulics. So he may end up having to have a new gearbox. So that's the reason why he retired yesterday.
Is he incurring a penalty for that?
Potentially. They don't know until they get to Canada.
There is a real issue with Ferraris. And it's strange because started off the season with Red Bull have a real reliability issue. No, I think it looks like they've sort of shaken that off.
Yeah.
Because the AlphaTauris have that they were also having the problems at the beginning, but
they've sorted it.
Again, they're not having any issues. Yesterday, who did we have? We had Charles, Sainz, Magnussen, and Zhou.
All went out.
All Ferrari-powered cars.
But apparently it's different because apparently we'll get on to Leclerc in a minute. But apparently it was his ICE that was damaged beyond repair and cannot be recovered.
Yeah, but
that's worrying.
It's still a I know it's a different issue, but
still reliability.
It's a reliability issue.
Yeah. Before we get on to Leclerc, let's quickly touch on. So we had the virtual safety car. Teams came into pit. As we've just said, Lewis Hamilton just unlucky again in the fact that he had to double stack to get change his tyres. They came in, I think it was like lap 13, went on from mediums to hards. The only person to really miss out there was Hamilton because he came in ahead of Seb and he came in ahead of Gasly.
No, he wasn't ahead of Gasly then. He lost a position to Seb.
What's this guy got to do to actually get some luck?
Yeah, no, it's it's just every race, isn't it? But one thing I should say is at least the Mercedes strategy team were reactive. Oh, they acted.
If only they were that reactive in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, well,
let's move on from that.
Let's not dwell on that. No. But yeah, it was nice to see that they actually did. They used their brains for once.
Let's talk about Red Bull because
the mighty Red Bull, and I hate to say it. I hate it.
It does pain. Max Perez. Yeah, don't get me wrong. He went off the pace a bit. Max overtook him. Yeah, that was fine.
When's he gonna start standing up for himself and being like, actually, no, I'm not going to make it easy for Max to overtake me.
And the fact that... So let's put it into perspective here. These two drivers going into this race, Perez was 15 points behind Max.
You're in a championship race, mate. Like, this title could be yours.
And then all of a sudden, over the radio, do you know what they said to Perez?
Was it no racing or something?
No fighting.
Yeah.
No fighting. Sergio, you're in a championship battle. This is your perfect opportunity to become an F1 world champion, and you're literally going to listen to the team and go, oh yeah, go on, I'll let you go, Max, no worries. And also Red Bull helped with this because when Perez came in for a pit stop, it was a 5.4 second pit stop.
Yeah, for no reason.
There was nothing in that replay.
There was an undercut there to overcut whatever.
And that was their concern. So I guarantee you had Christian Horner on the pit wall going, right, hold him up a bit because we need to have a bit of gap so Max can get past.
I don't remember the last time I saw Red Bull do a 5.6 second stop or something, was it?
5.4.
So,
shows how much you listen to me. I literally said that.
Oh, yeah. Ignored you. And you see on the cameras, they're just standing there. It doesn't look like anything happens. Because you mentioned it. It didn't even cross my mind when we were watching it. You were like, I bet they've just slowed him down on purpose so he couldn't... Was it the undercut or the overcut?
The undercut.
And it would have happened because Max came out 2 seconds in front of him.
Yeah.
And that's about... I mean, Red Bull typically do 2.5 second stops, even with the new tyres.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, if you're a Max fan, you're probably going to disagree with us. I just find it very funny that team principal last week in Monaco or a week before had to come out and say, no, I support both drivers. I don't mind who wins. Okay, first point, why are you having to come out and say that? Because that is just weird in its own. You haven't had such a crap pit stop since probably Imola last year. And then all of a sudden, when you know that Perez could potentially do an undercut, you keep him there longer. And there was nothing in that replay to indicate that should have been But all tyres were on.
Yeah, it did look...
It looked dodgy to me.
It did look a bit fishy. I just think...
I sound like I'm getting really passionate about it, but it's just really frustrating.
It's like you really like Perez.
Well, no, I just want to see him given the opportunity.
Yeah. You want it to be fair,
I don't care if he doesn't win it, but I want to see him. I want it to be fair, and it's not.
And I know people may look at like this and be like, "Well, I bet you didn't say that about Hamilton and Bottas." Lewis was regularly, more or less all the time, faster than him.
Also, at this point in I can't remember Bottas being 15 points behind Hamilton at this point in the season. And then going, oh yeah, he has an opportunity to win a world title. No, there's no comparison in that aspect. I agree with you, Bottas. If he was there, I'd be like, okay, you got to let him race. You got to give him the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
You've now got Sergio, and I just feel like they've brainwashed this guy into a point of going, oh, it's all about the team. Afterwards, going, oh, it's really good points for the team.
Yeah,
mate, you're a championship contender.
I think it's like to the point where like they've made him think, well, we've given you an opportunity at Red Bull. You're not going to get any better than that. You don't want to mess that up, do you, Sergio? And I think it is literally, well, actually, no, like I can win here. Like
he's proved.
What are you going to do? Sack me?
Yeah. Oh, what, he goes on and wins the championship and then...
No, we wanted Max to win that. You're gone, mate. Like, that won't happen.
I just want to see it fair. I like Sergio, and if I have to pick out between Max and Sergio to win the title, it's going to be Sergio all day long.
There's a 50% chance of getting that one
right.
right.
I know, it's shit, isn't it? But it just infuriates me because I just want to see it fair. I want to see this season. I want to, Sergio's earned his right to be given an opportunity to win a title.
Yeah.
And I feel Red Bull are going to squander that for him because they have their favourite in Max. And I don't know if they're too scared that actually, Max won't like it if we don't actually favour him here. Don't be wrong, Max may have just gone off and win the title, win the race yesterday. He was 20 seconds ahead. That may have happened.
Yeah, I mean, when he got in front, he pulled away.
Yeah.
Let's not.
But there's aspects of that race yesterday which were a bit questionable.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like they just tried to keep them apart.
Sergio probably didn't even realise they turned his engine down.
Oh, yeah, I bet they did. Yeah, they're sneaky. But all we're saying is let's have some justice for Perez.
And I don't even want you to think that I'm trying to be like negative in this. I just want to see him given the opportunity because I like Sergio. Sergio has, if you look at his career, he's grinded to be where he is today.
Yeah.
And he deserves his opportunity.
And yeah, don't get me wrong either. I think if they are allowed to race, Max wins 9 out of 10 of those anyway.
Yeah.
So
true.
But it is just, let them race because Sergio is still in this at the moment.
I guarantee in 3 races time he won't be.
Lewis will be.
Yeah. Charles Leclerc retired. Again, another engine failure. But it's worrying.
The strategy. I mean, they came in under the VSC,
and look good.
He would have been clear.
He would have won that race.
Yeah, he wouldn't have, and it wouldn't have been a race.
No, he was ahead. He was looking good. He'd already pitted. The other Red Bulls, had pitted, but he had like a 12-second gap. He looked good in it, and I was thinking, okay, if you have another virtual safety car, he'll just come in, pit again, and he's out again. Unfortunately, his engine blew and...
There was another VSC, but it was for his car, was it not? Oh, no, he got in.
No, it's Magnussen.
No, it's Magnussen, yeah.
But it's disappointing. It's disappointing for Leclerc. And if I was him, I'd be thinking, what more do you want me to do? My real concern, though, is when you look at the Ferraris, they were so strong at the beginning of the season that they then got concerned about Red Bull's straight line speed, that they've kind of turned their car too much now to try and compensate for that straight line speed, that they've kind of ruined their reliability.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we don't know the ins and outs factually, but that's got to be the case. Yeah. They've got to have done something to their engines to try and compensate for that Red Bull straight line speed. That now it is just pushing it too hard and we're seeing issues. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys listening or watching do have some understanding of maybe what has gone wrong at Ferrari, then please let us know. But yeah, I mean, as like speculation, that to me makes sense.
It's worrying. It is worrying for Ferrari. Other news, team orders, McLaren yesterday. We don't really talk about McLaren that often, only if it's Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah,
but
weirdly.
Funny enough, you're wearing a McLaren top.
Yeah,
What's
we
that
rep-
Lando one?
Yeah, we rep the merch quite a lot. Lando.
Well, okay. Can you tell the audience, or listeners, whatever, what you have called Lando yesterday?
No, but it might not have been very polite, and he might be listening. I think he often comes across as a brat on the radio. Yeah, and I think when was it he was talking about, because Daniel did him a favour earlier on in the race by not overtaking him, or the team wouldn't allow Daniel to overtake him. And then when it was towards the end, Lando was like, "Oh, well, that was different. Like that was at the beginning of the race. Now this is for points.
And you did it for one lap. How's that fair? How's this fair?"
Yeah, and it's just like, mate, like, and I often I don't know, like I feel bad for Danny Rick because I often get you hear on the radio he's so nice, and I feel like the team low key bully him.
Yeah,
and they're genuinely when I hear them over the radio, when it is something about Lando, I don't like it. It just doesn't wash well with me.
I just feel like from yesterday, what it showed is Lando was really disrespectful on the post race interview. He was kind of saying, "Yeah, I could have, but obviously I'm a team player. Do I agree with it? No, but it is what it is, and I would have got that pass." I'm like, come on now, the difference would have been 2 points or something. However, but Danny Rick, I actually fair play to him. I thought he had a solid race yesterday.
Yeah,
for someone who hasn't picked up points in a while, that was a quality race from him. They left him on a long stint with hard tyres.
When you bear in mind, both of them were out in Q2.
Yeah. We give him a bit of stick on here, but fair play to Danny Rick because I thought he had a solid race, and actually he deserved to finish in front of Lando yesterday.
And we were saying, yesterday watching it, I'm sure all of you listening and watching think, man, you boys must fucking hate Danny Rick. And we were both sitting there I really hope he does well.
And when he did an overtake,
because genuinely, I like him. I know that, and I really want to see him perform. So when we see him sort of being pushed around by the team a little bit, kind of disrespectfully, I don't like to see it.
No.
And I think Lando can complain at the end of the race all he wants and said oh yeah, well I could have overtaken him. Well, yeah, but it would have been a different race had they have let him pass you earlier on. Who knows where he could have got to.
The way I see it is Lando thinks it's his team.
Yeah.
He's got the backing. He's kind of like a golden boy again.
And because he has got the pace again, it's similar to Max and Perez. Lando does finish ahead of Daniel 9 out of 10 races.
And he's he has outperformed him this year, but I don't know. I think Danny Rick, fair play. But Lando is starting to get a bit arrogant.
Yeah, he's got attitude.
But it's funny enough, someone has said the other day, he said he's been like it for a while now. Perhaps we just haven't noticed it. But
yeah, I mean, to be fair, I saw glimpses of it last season.
Yeah.
But, he does, I guess, maybe he makes it clear on the radio that he doesn't like the team orders, but he does play to them. He could have won that Monza race.
Yeah, he could.
He would have, he was quicker than Danny Rick.
But take yesterday in his post-race interview that actually he said, I'm a team player. Do I agree with it? No. I could have overtaken him. I could have finished ahead. He doesn't have to go into that level of details.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's where maybe it's his age. What is he? He's not much younger than me. But 24. I mean, even me, I come on here and say flippant things.
Yeah. Sometimes.
And it is just that thing you do when you're not as mature and you don't really think before you say things.
I think the one interview I saw of him this year that kind of made me think, wow, okay, you have that, you can be a bit of an arse, was when did Albon get his points? Was it Australia when he went anti? And there was an interview afterwards, and Albon was like, "Oh yeah, I got a point," and Norris was like, "Really? He went something like, "Oh, I thought it was April's Fool or something." Like really kind of digging at him.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, I thought you were joking." Like,
but this is the thing also, like, because this is going to be strange. Well, it's a good comparison, I think. But like on the podcast, waffling, like sometimes we're quite like harsh to each other.
yeah,
But like we know how hard we can push it with each other because we're friends, and sometimes people say it and they're like, "Oh, you're bullying Theo or something," and it's like, no, it's not. Like this is how our friendship works. This is how we operate. Well, like we're horrible to each other.
I guess it's the exact same because that's what they are.
And that's what I mean. So like when Lando says something like that, we looking from the outside in might think, "Oh, what a knob."
Yeah.
But like our one's probably like, "Oh, this is me and Lando. This is our friendship."
But that's why,
like when he said the thing about George, when he said like, "Oh, if that was a good overtake, then his overtakes must be pretty shitty or something."
Yeah.
Like it comes across terribly in a professional environment, but he's probably in that moment thinking, "Well, I'm talking about George, my friend."
Yeah. And that's the issue, isn't it? I know that I've seen a lot of videos of them together, like having a laugh, George, Albon, Norris, all of that stuff. So normally I kind of see it, but I think it was the first time, and correct me if I'm wrong, when I saw this interview in Australia, I was kind of like, it felt like a proper dig. It felt like
snidey.
Yeah, normally I'd be like, "Oh, that's quite funny" and stuff, but I don't know. I'll watch after this. Let me know what you think.
Because then there was even I know. I'm pretty sure we spoke about it. The quadrant reply to the George overtake.
Yeah.
Where like it was like milking a cow dry.
Oh
or something.
yeah. So yeah, I remember seeing that.
And it is just stuff like that where
And granted, it is a bit of fun, but it's kind of like, is it actually fun or is it literally just him being like, "Do you know what? I'm just being a dick."
It's like when people don't actually know you personally, it's very easy to be on the cusp of like funny, knobhead.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because I think what showed yesterday, and being Lando Norris, the struggles Danny Rick has gone through this season, and the pressure he's gone through, and that Zach Brown has come out and actually not slated him, but he said, we can actually put pressure on him. If you're Lando Norris and you actually respect your teammate, you should be coming out and going, "Respect team orders. Danny Rick, did me a favour. Fully appreciate that. Really good job from him today. Back him.
Yeah.
Not throw him under the bus going, 'Well, I could have overtaken you. It doesn't really matter. I could have got you if I wanted to.'"
Yeah,
that just comes across as a bit
wanky.
Yeah.
Like yeah. And no, it is like it shows like it doesn't have much compassion.
Yeah.
Like to be fair, I mean Lando probably doesn't know the struggles. Because he hasn't had any struggles in F1 because he's been quality. We can't deny that. But there's going to come a period where he's going to struggle, and if he's got a little Lando in the other car against him,
he's going to struggle.
Yeah, and he'll soon realise that, like, actually, maybe I could have been a bit more human.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Are we being harsh? Are we not? Let us know what you think. So just quickly finish off the race before we talk about Canada. Charles retired again. How much this guy is struggling this year?
He is unlucky.
He's having so much unluck.
Bad luck.
Bad luck. That's what I wanted. Lewis came out in lap 30 saying his back was killing him. That porpoising is awful, but we'll get on that in a second. Magnussen again out of the race, and the fourth Ferrari engine to pack up this weekend. Max win, Perez second, George on the podium. Another fantastic job from George.
Mr. Consistency, who, might we add, is very much in this title race.
Yep.
What is he? He's like 50 points off Verstappen. Sounds like a lot, but we've seen how quickly
that can be
can turn around. Don't get me wrong here. I mean, the car is a piece of shit. Toto referred to it as a shit box.
Oh, you just ruined my next segment, man.
Well, we'll touch on that in a minute. So, at least they know it. He's only in the title race if they fix their car.
Exactly.
I don't even want to go down that route. That my hopes, they're gone. They're out the window.
Yeah, my hopes have gone It is sad. It is sad. Okay, so do you know what Toto called the Mercedes W13 at the end of the race yesterday?
I think it was a shit box.
Well done, well done.
Are you going to pay my mortgage?
No.
Get a tattoo?
No. Lewis looked in real pain at the end of that race.
Yep.
And do you know what? When you couldn't love Christian Horner anymore, this twat comes out with another statement.
Oh, as you say now.
I'd tell my drivers to bitch as much as they could on the radio and make as big an issue out of it as they could as possible regarding the porpoising, Mercedes porpoising.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes he's just a fucking bellend, isn't he?
And do you know what he also said? Christian Horner believes it would be unfair if the FIA changed Formula One's rules and penalised the ones that have done a decent job amid driver complaints about porpoising.
Mate,
when does it get to a point where you actually... Look, we had this discussion quite in depth yesterday, didn't we, when watching it? Lewis Hamilton, granted, they might be playing games. Mercedes has done that in the past, I get that. But if Lewis Hamilton is in that much pain from driving... Surely the FIA have to investigate whether they tell Mercedes, look, you've got to sort this out. Other drivers are also struggling with a bit of porpoising. Yeah. Gasly said he was a bit uncomfortable yesterday after the race.
Ricciardo said he was hurting.
Yeah. When does the FIA actually go, okay, let's look at driver safety rather than just continuing how we are? Don't get me wrong, there's teams out there who have sorted it. They're actually pretty good.
Yeah, they're more on top of it.
They're on top of it.
Every car is porpoising though.
Yeah.
Every single car on that track.
And
even the Red Bull. I guarantee it's a tiny bit.
Every driver comes out and they're sore. Don't get me wrong, you'd be sore after that type of race anyway. But I guarantee you they're coming out and they're more sore than
200 mile an hour, but like that way, and like that way, left and right if you're listening. Yeah. And then also you've got you're like a bouncy ball down the track. Awful. And Lewis is no spring chicken. You know, he might have the best driving ability on the track, in my opinion. But George is probably getting out that car, 23 years old, whatever he is, shakes it off. You know, might be a bit sore for the rest of the day, go sleep, wake up, fine.
Yeah.
It's like a hangover. You know, they get harder as you get older. George.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
You're quite old now.
Shut up. Let's move on.
So, you know, Lewis is going to feel this more at his age.
Yeah. I just think it needs to be looked into. Like, don't get me wrong, F1... I said this yesterday, didn't I? So, in Monaco, the FIA was so worried about actually, not starting a race until it's dry. You know, they wouldn't let them race in wet conditions. But they're happy to let drivers drive round, bouncing up and down like anything. Don't get me wrong, it's team's responsibilities. It is Mercedes' responsibility to sort that car out. Granted, I get that. But if I was the FIA and I'm watching that and I've got a driver coming through the radio going, I'm sore, I'm proper sore, you know, and he looked in serious pain when he got out of that car. When do they start to actually go, okay, we need to properly look into this because this is driver safety? They all go on about driver safety, the importance of driver safety, but when do they step in?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good comparison, you know. You don't start a race because there's a bit of rain, despite the fact you've got a tyre that's literally made for the rain.
Yeah.
The drivers are skilled enough to drive in the rain. Like, it's not like the cars aren't waterproof or something.
Yeah.
Like, they can go out there, but then you're more than happy for them to bounce at like 200 mile an hour down a track. And I'm with you on, because I sort of sit on the fence and think...
You sit in the fence?
Sit in the fence, yeah. Sit on the fence thinking... Well, yeah, it is a team's responsibility to fix it, but you know, it's also shit to watch, in my opinion. Cars not being able to reach their full potential because they're just bouncing up and down. We haven't had this with the old cars.
No, but also when you're looking at it, you know, the whole point of they've added the halo to the car to protect driver safety. They put so many different things on these cars to protect driver safety. But now they're happy that, and I'm not just saying this because this is Hamilton, I'm saying this for any other driver any other car that is suffering with porpoising, but when does driver safety come into this?
Don't get us wrong. I mean, if this was happening to Red Bull, we'd fully be saying, nah, fuck that, they fucked it, that's their problem. But
continue as you are. Yeah.
This is how sports fans work.
Yeah. No, Drive to Survive.
Yeah, Drive to Survive fans.
Yeah.
But, I do from like a, take yourself outside and look in. From a safety perspective, it is dangerous.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. Mercedes dropped the ball for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they've fully murked this car. God knows who they've paid to design it, but he should be doing time for fraud. He needs to give that money back. But yeah, it's Lewis crossed like the pit lines, didn't he?
Yeah.
And they're like, Bono was like, careful. And then he was like, I literally couldn't see.
Yeah.
Because I was bouncing too much.
And that's the mad thing. The one thing that did make me laugh, we're finished on Baku now, but I don't think there's much more to say. But I actually thought it was a good race. The best thing about it yesterday and what made us laugh when we were watching it was Lewis, even with DRS, was losing time.
Losing time to Ocon, which, don't get me wrong, those Alpines are...
The Alpines on the straight line was
fucking quick.
Ridiculous.
And he was also, I think it happened when he was closing Gasly down until Gasly's tyres went.
I don't think I've ever seen DRS open and
a driver lose time.
Yeah. It's just like, what is going on here?
And that just goes to show, how much it is affecting this car.
Yeah.
And I'd love to, I'd also love to see the Ferrari without porpoising. So this is not just about ridding it for Mercedes. I think that Ferrari bounces a lot, you know. Get rid of it and that. Jesus, it's going to be a weapon.
Finally, massive shout out to AlphaTauri's engineers, because I thought you did a fantastic job in repairing that rear wing. Right, you can't. Your DRS is broken. Don't worry, I've got gaffer tape. Did the job.
And the old boys on commentary weren't very happy about it.
Paul di Resta. Ooh.
Oh God, he wanted them killed.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you can't be doing that.
Yeah,
no, that's not safe."
Oh, shut up, Paul.
Get in your box.
It's a bit of gaffer tape. I don't like.
Gaffer tape does everything.
It did the job, didn't it?
That's superb. Let us know what your thoughts were on Baku. Did you enjoy the race? Did you not? What were any other, issues which you found? Do you agree with us? Do you not? Let's quickly touch on Canada, because, races are coming thick and fast. So you can play at home. This is a time of the episode where we have a little quiz now. So if you're watching on YouTube, comment down below. If you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, get a pen and paper out, sit down.
Or just play in your head.
Play in your head.
That's easier. We'll probably get more people playing if they play in their head.
But it'd be more fun to see people go and get a pen and paper.
Yeah, it would be. If you really want to do that, do it and send it to us.
So, when was the last time we were in Canada?
2019.
Yes. And who was the winner?
Technically Seb, but Lewis won.
Lewis won, yeah. Right. Here's where the quiz really starts. Okay, so in this quiz, you have the opportunity for 1 month of your mortgage to be paid for. Okay. How many it's not this one. How many DRS zones are there?
The problem is that I really can't even picture this track. I'm gonna say 2.
Congratulations, well done. 2. When was the first Grand Prix held in Canada?
1962.
1978.
That wasn't far off.
You're quite far off. How many laps are there? If you get this right, I will pay your shopping bill.
71.
70.
Oh, no!
When you started saying 70, I was like, no. Oh, that's good. Right, so lap record. This is when you could get your mortgage paid for. But I'm gonna, because you are going to get this one day, so I need to actually, make this fair for me. Lap record and who by?
1 minute 13, Valtteri.
Fuck off! You've already looked. No way. You little shit. Yeah, when did you already look beforehand? Didn't you?
I didn't actually look. It's just I watched because every time we do a podcast on with the race coming up, I always watch the highlights of the last race.
Fuck no,
it was in 2019, and it popped up saying I don't normally take in the times or anything, but it said track record.
No, I'm not having.
Oh, that's nice.
No, not paying.
No bills for me this month.
The fuck off. No, I'm not having that. That is outrageous. Do you know what? When you started saying, I was like, fuck. I know.
I should have played on it.
Yeah. No, it's So what's the circuit like? I really struggle then. So for you guys who don't know about Canada, I'm going to give you a bit of a brief synopsis of it. All right. What's the circuit like? The fast, low downforce circuit is one of the drivers' favourites. The track is quite stop-start with lots of heavy braking, chicanes, and the famous hairpin to get to the anchors working hard. Out of the corners through the track is quick and flowing, while the most iconic piece of the circuit comes right at the end of the lap, the Wall of Champions. The Wall of Champions. It's one of my favourites. I love Canada. It's one of my favourite tracks.
See, I know I'm not sure if we said this on the podcast, but I didn't even know it was a street track, you know?
No.
Because it's one of those tracks that it looks like a track.
Yeah, I know, I agree with you.
And we've shit on street tracks.
Baku's definitely not one of them. And
quality.
Canada, I definitely won't be shitting on it.
Weirdly, I also watched the highlights of the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix today.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know who won?
2011. It wasn't Danny Rick because that was 2013.
Yeah, Danny Rick wasn't in the sport 2011.
No. I'm just thinking in my head. No, I'm just trying to think who. Because I remember doing on this day. So 2011. Was it Kimi Raikkonen?
I don't think he was in F1 in 2011, was he?
Kimi Raikkonen?
Because he left for a bit, didn't he? Didn't he go and do like rally driving or something?
Yeah, I don't know what year that was. Who won it then?
It was Jenson Button. Against all odds as well.
He was at the back of the grid, wasn't he? Near enough.
Yeah, because he got a puncture because him and Lewis collided.
That was in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
No, it looked like a quality race.
Is that when the steward fell in the road?
Oh, well, they didn't show that in the highlights.
Oh, I'm going to show you after this. If you guys don't know, go and check out Canada Grand Prix steward falling over. It gets me and my dad every time. It is brilliant.
What were the cars like coming around?
Get it up on your phone. Like, honestly, I want to see your reaction to it.
Did he have to go and pick something up from the road?
Yeah, there's a bit.
But then shut himself, and he was definitely thinking like, "Don't fall over, don't fall over."
Do you want me to find it for you? But
what should I type in?
Just type in, so you can do this at home. Canada Grand Prix steward fall.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was 2011.
Well, you'll see this guy in a second. So
oh my god. He's like clearly so scared he just like falls back over.
Proper shits himself. Yeah. It's one of my favourite clips. I don't know why. It still gets me laughing.
This is the thing, right? I love watching old school F1 stuff where like the safety wasn't really
compared to now
a thing. Because it just makes me think like,
proper.
Yeah.
So if you are wanting to watch it this weekend, practice 1 is on Friday 7 to 8. Practice 2 is 10 to 11. On Saturday, practice 3 is 6 till 7 and qualifying is 9 till 10. Race starts at 7 till 9. Good times, I think.
7 in the evening.
7 in the evening till 9.
That's quality because I land at 6:30 in the morning on Sunday.
That's good.
What are the NY times?
Well, I don't know. You're going into it now, aren't you?
They're 4 hours behind.
Yeah.
So what's practice?
So practice is 7. So you're looking at 3.
Yeah.
So
quick man.
Thank you very much. What are you thinking this weekend? Who are your top 3? Or basically, who is your podium for the Canada Grand Prix this weekend?
Charles, Max, Perez.
So you think Ferrari are going to sort out their reliability issues?
Oh, God, I like to think that Charles is due a win.
Yeah.
He's shown us no reason as to why he shouldn't win these races. They can't break down twice in a row. I mean, he's going to have a completely fresh engine,
Yeah, no.
or power unit, whatever. So he should be good.
I'm going to go for. I'm going to believe in this. Perez, Max, Charles.
But we've got a few more corners here.
Yeah.
The Ferraris can corner quicker.
But my concern is their reliability. That's my concern.
Yeah, but then if they have a reliability issue,
then why am I putting them in my top 3?
yeah,
Yeah. Granted, very good point there, actually.
You should put George or Lewis there.
Yeah, I just still think Red Bull still looked quick throughout the corners yesterday.
Yeah, no, granted, it's not, bless you.
Oh, thank you.
It's not a huge gap in class between them, but there's something. I mean, when you watch that Ferrari take corners, I don't know, it just looks different. It looks like it's just stuck to the ground.
I also think that this weekend Charles is going to be under a lot more pressure because he's getting behind now. So I think he could potentially make an error.
Is it Charles under pressure or is it the team under pressure?
I think it's a team, but you got to remember Charles hasn't been in a title fight before. So in his opinion, well, in his mind, he may be thinking, I need to pick up points. I can't let Max get away with full points this weekend. So he potentially might make more errors this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, Charles has definitely shown us this season that he's got an error in him.
Yeah.
Understandably,
Where was that? That was Italy?
Yeah. There's a lot of pressure. But he's also shown us some very intelligent driving.
Yeah.
Bahrain, Saudi Arabia.
Even yesterday, he was good up until his point.
Yeah. Yesterday he was flawless.
I just feel that eventually now, if he keeps having these reliability issues, he's going to have more pressure on him to pick up the points. So that's where I think that actually he may make a bit of an error because did someone just fall over?
Someone just died. Yeah, I think so. What are you thinking? We always do top 3, but the top 3 is quite obvious. Why don't we say 6, 7, and 8?
6, 7, and 8?
Yeah.
Christ's sake. So hang on, I have to think about this because 3, 4, 5. Right, so 6, 7, and 8. So I'm going to go 6th place will be Alonso. 7th will be Seb. 8th, Gasly.
So where's Lewis and George?
4th and 5th.
So where's Sainz?
9th.
9th?
Yeah.
Why?
He's going to have a little spin in turn 1.
You're just spitballing now, aren't you? You forgot about him.
I did. I think Sainz. I've lost my faith in Sainz, unfortunately. Granted, he's had mechanical issues, but I think when the pressure is on, he cannot step up.
He's shown that he's slower.
Yeah.
Consistently slower. I mean, he could not keep up with Max.
No.
The pack just broke away, but Max wasn't able to get past Charles. And I know it's one thing catching up with someone and another to overtake him, but I feel like if Sainz was in front of Max would have just taken him.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. It's kind of like, the Bottas-Hamilton situation last year. So quickly, before we get going on to fan questions, how long are we talking? An hour. So quickly. Team predictions out of driver predictions out of each team. I get this wrong every fucking week.
What are you saying?
So
if anyone can translate that, please.
It's been a long day. So I'm going to pick each team. You have to tell me which drivers finished ahead.
Okay, I can do that.
So Max, Sergio.
I'm going to say Max.
Do you just enjoy taking a piss out?
Yeah.
Okay. Charles, Carlos Sainz.
Charles.
Lewis, Russell.
It's about time Lewis finishes ahead of George.
It's about damn time. Okay.
And has George ever raced here before in a Formula One car? Don't believe he has.
Not sure. 2019, 20, 21.
So we raced there.
He might have had one season with Williams.
What, in 2019?
2019.
I thought he was only there 2 seasons, wasn't he?
2021. 22. Yeah, he might not have been.
Yeah, but yeah, I think. Come on, Lewis has got a.
Okay. So you know when I said this is quick fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do take a bit of time with this. Okay.
Yeah, well, I got to justify it.
Okay. Lando.
Norris.
Alonso. Gasly. Or Sonoda.
Gasly.
K-Mag or Mick.
I mean, that's K-Mag.
Seb.
100%.
This is probably going to be the toughest one. Albon Latifi.
Albon.
Oh, by the way, we didn't mention
What about
Latifi.
Bottas and Show?
Oh, Bottas show.
Bottas.
It's about time Joel gets it. Latifi, congratulations, getting a 10-second penalty literally on lap 1. Well done.
That is insane. Didn't he get like a 5-second penalty later on?
Yeah. Oh, he's just...
There's something wrong with him.
I love the fact that at the end, I don't know if Sky were taking the piss because they were like, next week in Canada, we go to our home race. What, they thinking Latifi and Stroll are going to fucking walk it? Yeah, no chance.
As if the crowds are turning up for them.
Who are you here to see? Latifi, yeah.
They're like, God, no, they'd be booed out of their hometown, surely.
Do you think they're going to bring their A game this weekend? Do you think this is where I could get my tattoo?
I genuinely don't think they have an A game.
No.
They're
I don't think they have a D
not
game.
capable of pulling it out.
Shall we get on with fan questions?
Yeah.
So each week we ask you guys to send down questions after each race week. And I have to say, every week you guys do not disappoint. So is it me asking you this week?
Yeah, you can ask me. I don't know how we find these. Okay, how many have we got?
Is somebody in your house?
Nah. Hope not.
So do I.
There we go.
All right. Right, so let us know what you think of these questions. How would Andy B. Hamilton due to win anytime soon? Thoughts?
Well, due to win, yeah, of course. But, I mean, the thing is, he's been putting in the drives, right? I know George has been... And this is a bit off topic because, no, they're not due a win because the car's shit.
Yep.
If the car was good, Lewis has shown he's... I mean, not that he needed to prove it anyway. I mean, he was literally... Should have won the last title. He's a 7-time world champion.
Yep.
But, man, he's shown that he's still... Racing is still so on point. And that's what we actually haven't seen from George this season. George has been very consistent, but... He's actually not had to race at all.
Spain, Max.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only bit we've seen.
Yep.
And, you know, granted, yeah, I mean, it's probably amazing for a team to just have a driver that keeps his head down and just isn't challenged. But I do want to see George get raced.
Yeah. We wanted to see
Lewis
and
I
George
want Lewis and George to race. I think that would be I know we kind of had it.
No fighting.
Nah, I don't think they'd do that. I know we kind of had it at Miami,
Yeah,
but
that wasn't
George was on fresh tyres. Lewis's were
George.
not good.
This is James.
But I don't want that.
No,
I don't want that. Let them fight.
Tom has said, "Have you boys heard of a website called Reddit?"
No, actually,
What's that about? Let us know.
yeah.
Is it a new thing? Adam Magnus said three new countries you would both want to host a GP next season. I'd like to see South Africa again.
Yeah. Well, that would bring, you know, the final continent.
Yeah.
Well, minus like Antarctica or whatever.
Hockenheim. I like Hockenheim.
I like that track.
Yeah.
Be good to get back to Japan.
We're going to Japan this year.
Are we?
Yeah.
Quality. I literally did not know that. Well, obviously, I haven't been there for the last 2 years. Is Singapore back?
Guys, you can tell who actually does all the research on this podcast and he just turns up each
But
week.
that's why I say I love turning up because I learn everything.
Yeah.
Is Singapore?
No.
Because this COVID thing is like throwing everything right off.
Would you like me to tell you what you got remaining coming this year?
Yeah, I
Because
actually would.
I feel like sometimes
I love that. I don't even know what it's called. Japan.
Yeah. So you got Canada, Silverstone, Austria, France, Hungary, Belgium, Netherlands, Italy, Singapore. Oh, Singapore is back this year. Sorry. Japan, United States, Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi. There you go.
Brazil is still my favourite race.
I forgot.
Calendar.
I thought Singapore.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm not too sure there is a country that like I say, I'd like to see Africa get a race.
Yeah, South Africa would be good. But there is reports that that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, there's nowhere they don't really go.
No, I think those.
Malaysia, I used to like that track.
Yeah, that was a good track. Right. Connor says, who takes Lewis's seat if he retires at the end of the season?
Yeah, interesting. How do you replace that, man? I'm sure Ferrari had the same issue.
Yeah.
When Schumacher went. Well, they did. They didn't win, did they?
No.
God, who replaces him? I mean, I know loads of people have said Lando.
Yeah.
I think that I'm not sure if the team dynamic would work. It's very Lewis and Rosberg.
Yeah,
and
Lando wouldn't.
I think that's exactly what they want to not do.
Yeah.
But then where else do they look? Again, Nick De Vries.
I could even see Gasly in a Mercedes.
Yeah, but has anyone ever made that Red Bull Mercedes switch?
But no.
Honestly, to answer that question, I can't answer it because I really don't know how you replace a 7-time world champion. That is, I just can't see who they'd get in to be like, okay, yeah, no, he'll do.
Yeah, no.
Max?
Can you imagine? This next question.
If Max went to Merc, would you support him?
It'd be tough, man. I'd like to see Leclerc and George. That would be cool.
Leclerc, now that is a man that I believe could step up.
Yeah. And
it'd be a quality replacement. But again,
he won't leave Ferrari.
I just can't see it happening.
This next question from Luke Brown.04, and I want you to be really serious with this, and I want you to have a real think about this. Do you think Latifi can win in his home race next week?
Is he serious? Does he think that we're going to think that he has a chance of winning? You could put him
have a think about your question. Have a think about your answer.
You could put him in the Red Bull, and I genuinely think he'd struggle to get a point.
That's good for me.
Yeah, no, it is. But that is genuinely what I believe. He's so off the pace.
Yeah.
And we've seen that just because you have a fast car doesn't mean you're going to win. And what I mean by that is when Yuri Vips drove the Red Bull in FP1, he was the slowest man on the track.
So, is it a yes?
It's a maybe.
It's a maybe.
Yeah, he might be able to.
This is a really good question from Lauren. Should they give women a chance in F1? Jamie Chadwick. I mean, to be fair, there's some talented drivers out there. Some very talented drivers.
Yeah, it's... I think it always comes down to that thing of biology, which, we can't deny is a thing.
Yeah.
Formula One is extremely physical because of the speeds. And I know, W Series is physical. I think that's the only thing is, and I don't want to, upset anybody here because I'd love to see whether, if they were... any female driver was capable of setting the same times as... You'd probably rather Jamie Chadwick than Nicholas Latifi. I'll put that out there. If they were capable of setting the same times, then why wouldn't you? If you have a driver that is capable of winning races, doesn't matter, even if they got no hands. You know, so long as they can do it. But I think it is purely the physicality thing of
How would you drive if you had no hands?
that would be a really good driver. Really good. I would love to see that. But yeah, that is
Even if you didn't have any hands.
that is the only thing though, you know, and it's the same reason why you don't see women play football with men, because
Different sports.
they are different sports. I am well aware. I've played against some very talented female footballers who absolutely skinned me. But it's very easy to just brush them off the ball because I'm stronger.
Yeah.
So
you say?
Well, no, but like naturally. And I mean, we have a girl on our six-a-side team every Tuesday, and she's quality. Technically, arguably the best player on the team.
Yeah.
But there is like a physicality thing where, you know, sometimes she'll get pushed off the ball too easy, which is understandable. So that would be the only thing, is the physicality. But I
don't know. I think
it would be great to see.
I think it would be brilliant.
100%.
I really do. And I would much rather that than have someone like Latifi or, you know, Stroll, because I feel having someone come into the sport, you know, like Jamie Chadwick would be phenomenal for the sport, because it's something...
And get more women involved in it.
It's new. It's something which hasn't happened before. You know, it's all about being inclusive. Like, I think it's brilliant, and I'm all up for it, because I think at the end of the day, you put people in cars, and if they can drive fast and they can they earn the right to be out there, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. I'm all up for it. I'm all up for it.
100%.
And Jamie Chadwick has proved, you know, quality driver, and there's loads of others out there that are quality drivers.
Well, like, but surely are there any like female reserve drivers or anything?
No, I swear there was last year though. Not a reserve driver. every time.
I would love to see it, because again, I literally don't think... I think there will be female drivers that are technically just as good. And you cannot argue that. It's purely the physical demand, which is a biological thing. And again, I'm not saying I don't think they can handle it. I'm just saying surely that is the only hurdle, if there is one.
I don't even think that's a hurdle, in all honesty. In my opinion.
But then it may not be. But then why have we not seen any women?
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm all up for it. I think it'd be interesting. I think it'd be good.
I think fully, like, you've got to be given the opportunity.
Yeah, without doubt. Right, final question. Kerr date. If Perez won't be allowed to fight Max, how long do you think he will stay at Red Bull? In all honesty, he will stay at Red Bull until his end of his career, because I just feel like Sergio Perez, unless we start seeing a real difference in him and actually get him going, do you know what? This is my best chance of getting a world title, and actually ignoring what Red Bull wants of him and actually go out there and prove himself that he can be a title contender. He will just stay there and be happy with second fiddle. But I really want to see Perez now come out and go, do you know what? This is my time. I don't care what happens in years to come. I want to be a world champion. Let me fight and get this world title.
And you know, it's he's in the latter stages of his career.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good gig he's got.
Yeah.
Drives fastest car on the grid. Probably paid pretty handsomely.
Yeah.
Gets to win races every now and then. Pretty much guaranteed a podium.
And this season, he is a title contender. Let's just remember that.
Yeah.
He is, even after these 6-7 races now, whatever.
So what's he going to do? Be like, oh, I'm leaving you because you won't let me win a title, and then go at Aston Martin? But you're not going to win one there. No. Go to McLaren, you're not going to win one there. Even go to Mercedes, you're not winning one there at the moment.
Just let's get a bit of drama between them. That's all I want to see.
Yeah.
Get a bit like, I want to see Sergio show his like rough side now. Go, yeah, okay, this is my time.
Give us some Some frost.
Exactly. Right, guys, that is the end of the podcast. Hopefully you have enjoyed this. Luke, thank you very much.
That's okay.
That's okay. You're off to New York soon.
Yeah, Wednesday. Well, when this podcast is out, I will be in the air when it's released.
Nice. Have a good time.
Thanks.
But we'll be back next Monday. Well, we're back next Monday filming a podcast, but we'll be back next Wednesday with a brand new podcast. Remember, check us out on all social medias. Medias? I don't know why I keep doing this. I'm so tired. Hit a like button, subscribe if you're new, and Christian Horner, final word from us. Just let them race, please. And Toto Wolff, sort out Mercedes. Bye.
Yes.